All right, okay, here we go. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is this is how to understand inverse functions graphically. Okay, so one of the things that we could do is if we take just the basic function f of x equal to the square root of x, right? So the positive square root, so that's going to do something like this, right? Let me do it better. Something like that, right? So now, what about the inverse? Well, you may have noticed that when we do the inverse, like the inverse of this one ends up doing something like this. This is a sideways parabola, and this one ends up being half of a parabola, right? And so what we notice to be true, and this is true, let me do it this way here. Is if we take the line y equals x, this is the identity line, right? The identity function. So it goes straight to the origin at a 45-degree angle. That for the function, if it's a one-to-one function, if you graph the function and its inverse, they are always reflections across the y equals x line. Okay, so that's one of the properties of inverses. They're always reflections across the f of x equals y, or excuse me, the f of x equals x or y equals x line, the identity line. Okay. Also, one of the other things too is if we take the domain of f, right, and the range of f, right? Well, it turns out that if we look at f inverse of x, right? Well, the domain and range are switched. So the domain of f is the range of f inverse. The range of f is the domain of f inverse. Okay? And so if you look at it this way, another way to kind of picture it, if we have a one-to-one function, right? So let's talk something like this, right? Where we have the domain and we have the range, and we take f of x, right? Takes values from, let's say, x1, x2, x3, y1, y2, and y3. So if it's a one-to-one function, remember to have an inverse, you have to have a one-to-one function. So one-to-one functions always look like this, where exactly one value in the domain maps to exactly one value in the range. Okay? So we have this function f that maps this way. Okay? Now the cool thing is if we have f mapping this way, right? F inverse maps exactly the other way. And so so basically it goes along the same lines. So f goes this way, f inverse goes the other way. And so that's also what's going on here. Okay? So it also tells you how the domain and the range switch when you go from talking about the function to the inverse function. Okay? So keep that in mind. Have a great day.